While Joe Biden is closing the gap in crucial states, his opponent, President Trump, is casting doubt on the integrity of the polls. And from coast to coast, our kababayans have a say about this issue. We're joined now by two Filipino-Americans, Ryan Songalia, live from New York, and Manny Paez from Los Angeles. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. Ryan, let me start off with you. Being nonpartisan in this election and as a Filipino-American voter, was this electoral process, in your view, free and fair?
Yes, people were allowed to cast their ballots. There was significant turnout. The process worked in Donald Trump's favor when he was able to flip Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania in 2016 to become the president. I don't know what the problem is for him now, where we have another close election in those states. And in two of those states, Joe Biden has already been declared the victor. And the third one, it seems that he's surging with mail-in ballots being counted. He has repeatedly called into question the integrity of mail-in ballots. And now he's surprised that people, that his voters didn't turn out in mail-in ballots. So he can't really have it both ways.
Manny, you've been in California for decades. You voted for President Trump in this election due to the conservative values of the Republican Party. On this particular issue about fraud, do you support him?
Actually, that's what the beauty of democracy. That's a process that gives a voice to everyone. So he's just expressing his perspective on this election, because basically this election is very unique. You know, because of the COVID-19, a lot of people have used the mailing ballots, and everyone has different perspective on this particular election. So. I guess it's everybody's right to state what their perspective or point of view on the result of this election, which is still ongoing until now.
Absolutely. It's a nail-biter of an election for many Filipino-Americans. And, you know, Manny, quite interesting in your household, you voted for Trump, but your wife and your daughter voted for Joe Biden. So I'm sure there's a lot of discussion ongoing right now on who's going to win this election.
Yeah, that's very true. That's why I said that's the beauty of democracy. You know, everybody, even within our family, you know, we're free to choose whoever we think should be our leader for the next 4 years. So it keeps humor on the dinner table, actually.
and Ryan, over there in New York, what are the views of your fellow Filipino Americans there? Does this allegation of fraud, in your view and other Filipino Americans' views, undermine the integrity of the vote and America's democracy?
It does seem unfortunate that politics have become much more partisan in recent years. You're either Team Blue or you're Team Red. So it depends on who you ask. But with many of the voters that I've spoken with, particularly here in New York, where the general election doesn't really have much bearing because, you know, Republicans not going to win statewide here in New York. It's really the primary that is competitive. But a lot of people here are realizing from 2016 that they were in a bubble. They've been trying to reach out to voters in swing states, in states that have much closer elections in the general, to try and influence other voters. I've seen a lot of people here who realized that in other parts of the country, people aren't thinking the same way that they do. So they're trying to share their perspectives. Right. I've seen a lot of engagement, not just here statewide, but outside of the state as well, from people living here in New York.
And Manny, briefly, many Americans pride themselves as part of the greatest democracy in the world. But with Trump's accusations, the United States' reputation across the world is at stake here.
Actually, things are really changing. It's very dynamic, you know. But this opens up the process of electoral democracy. So with this ongoing right now, they would see some kinks or things that needs to be fixed, especially as life is changing when it comes to, pandemic and things like that. So the election, when it was the election process, when it was put up by the founding fathers, might need some a little bit of adjustment with the developments in the present time.
Manny Paez joining us from Los Angeles and Ryan Songalia live from New York. Gentlemen, thank you so much for rising bright and early for the final word from the United States.